Hey guys, welcome back. We are talking about July releases for the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. So the first game we are going to be having a look at releases on July 11th of 2025, which is only in about a week, so it's pretty good. However, there is a downside to this game. So this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 Plus 4. Now this is releasing both on the Switch and Switch 2 along with every other console. However, the Switch 1 has a physical cart, and the physical cart has Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on it. There is also a download for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. So you'll have a cart that has one of the full games and then one download game. Now for the Switch 2 version, it is only a code in the box, not even a key card. So there is no 3 or 4 in the box. It's just a code for the eShop. So that is unfortunate. That means like when I'm going to buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 Plus 4, I will be buying the inferior version on Switch 1 along with Xbox. So I can have a physical copy because I don't want a code in a box. So I'd rather have the Switch 1 copy with the games. I'm sure they'll run fine on the Switch 2. However, it is unfortunate that it's not even a game key card. That would have at least made a little bit more sense to have a game key card of both. But they didn't go this route, so it is what it is. That is my reasoning, and there is no upgrade path currently for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 Plus 4. So that sucks, but it is what it is. Let me know, are you buying the Switch 1 version, or are you just buying it on a different console? I just think it would be cool to have on the Switch 1 just for the handheld playability, but I do want to have it for Xbox for friends. Alright, next game is on July 10th. We are looking at Patapon 1+2 Replay for the Nintendo Switch. This is about $34. Oh yeah, the other Tony Hawk was $50. So Patapon 1+2, about $34. This is on Play Asia, and for July 10th, I could not find it on an American site. So this is just going to be a one you have to order elsewhere, unless if you can find a store that gets them in. I know GameStop will sometimes order stuff from Play Asia just so they can have it on their shelves. Same thing where they order stuff from like Limited Run, right? So we also have quick thing. We have like 3 days for you to pre-order the Gex stuff on Limited Run's website. So all of this stuff is going down. This is your last chance for any of this. You have this that has that really cool statue on it. All of these pre-orders stop on July 6th. So if you want to get the physical of Gex, make sure you pick that up. If not, you're going to have to wait until a retailer sells it. Most likely places like Best Buy and GameStop does pre-order their own versions of this. So you'll probably see these games sometime around stores or in stores around October, I think is their estimated ship date. So you might be seeing this at your local GameStop or so on. I know they do love to get in Limited Run stuff, which is great because anyone who missed the actual physical for Gex, that would suck. Now, if you were interested in Gex, but you didn't care about the physical, you just wanted to download code, it's already on the eShop. You can go ahead and do it. However, there is an issue with the Switch 2, the emulation playing on Switch 2. So right now, it's only on the Switch 1 eShop. All right, next, after Patapon 1+2, we have Legacy of Kain. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remaster for Nintendo Switch. This comes out July 14th and it is $29.99. It is on the Switch 1, but it looks like it is a physical copy by Aspire. Limited Run has done a release of this before. However, this is the release of it now. I will say it is cool. But next we have Hunter x Hunter Neen Impact. I don't know anything about this. It looks like it's a fighting game. It comes out July 17th, and it is $59.99. So a lot of people like it. A lot of people enjoy this kind of stuff. I've never gotten into this. I think the last like anime fighting game I got was the Shonen Jump, and then that ended up dying almost immediately, it seems. But let's go ahead and go to the next one for our GameStop, and that is going to be on the 17th for $69.99. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be a physical release. They already said Nintendo does not want to do key cards for their first party games. So we will be seeing this. This is the one that everybody wants to play. It is kind of the first must buy. A lot of people who have played it already have said it is very close to Mario Odyssey, which makes sense, since it was made by the people who did Mario Odyssey. I am looking forward to it. I want to buy it on day one. So July 17th, hopefully stores are full of this this game, so we don't have to wait an extra week or anything like that. Usually, games are pretty much in stock. Not a lot of people buy them on day one. So, Donkey Kong Bonanza, pretty cool. Next, we have, let's see, on July 18th, there is a little kind of an issue here. So, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, a new Power Awakens set, Diamond Edition for Nintendo Switch, is $49.99. However, Amazon claims that it comes out December 31st, 2025. And that release is usually meant as a to be determined when they do like the last day of the year. Because nothing ever releases on the last day of the year. That's usually stuff they, like GameStop does that, Amazon does that, and it's like a placeholder, right? If we go over to Best Buy has the same thing, and apparently it has a new arc for Nintendo Switch, so that'll be interesting. But they have it released for July 18th of 2025. So that's pretty cool. We'll see that. However, you'll have Part 1 available on July 17th, 2025. However, Part 2 is not supposed to be releasing until somewhere around December, or like I think they said December to March, sometime around there. So keep that in mind if you do want to buy it. Now we have the game I am really interested in, Shadow Labyrinth, for $29.99. This releases on July 18th. I think this is going to be a immediate pickup for me as well. So Shadow Labyrinth, if you've seen the Nintendo Direct, one of the last ones they did, not the Donkey Kong one, but the one before that, they had a Pac-Man game. And it's like a Pac-Man, like, it seemed like a roguelike or something. I don't remember it completely, but it is Pac-Man in this, like, awesome looking world. And that is what Shadow Labyrinth is. You're basically like a little Pac-Man dude. And it looks pretty cool. You should see footage on the screen. And that is something that I'm going to pick up day one. So far, my pickup day ones are definitely going to be Shadow Labyrinth and Donkey Kong Bonanza, I know for sure. Now, if we go to July 23rd, we have WWE 2K25. Now, unfortunately, this is a code in a box. A game key card is not included. I actually would prefer a game key card for this release because it would have a resale value where you can actually sell it and it'll still be usable. This one is going to have to be a download regardless, which is why I say I don't mind a game key card. So the way that this one works is a Switch 2 key cartridge can only hold a max of 64 gigabytes. This game is currently around like 74 gigabytes, so it would have already surpassed the cartridge. However, because it's a code in a box, you don't even get a game key card. I don't see a reason to ever buy the inferior version of this game. If you want this game, get it on anywhere else. PlayStation, Xbox, it doesn't matter. These WWE games kind of have been known for being very bad on consoles. And that's talking about on powerful consoles. A lot of times they run like shit. And for it to be on the Switch, even as a Switch 2, chances are it's probably going to run kind of like shit. And it's a download only. So even if it does run like shit, you can't do anything about it. You can't go resell this. You can't get in-store credit for it. It's just all around a bad time. I think that is part of the reason why they decide not to go game key card. Because they want to eliminate people buying it secondhand. And they want to eliminate the refunds that people are going to be getting. Because, you know, a lot of times stores are very hesitant on giving you a refund for something that is a code in box. And a lot of times they will just flat out refuse because the code has been redeemed, you know. So keep that in mind, WWE2K25. I don't recommend it at all. But it is coming out on the 23rd for the Switch 2 if anyone is interested for some reason. Okay, next we have Super Mario Kart Jamboree Nintendo Switch Edition, which comes with Jamboree TV. So this is going to be it's kind of like a upgraded, extended version of Mario Kart Jamboree for the Switch one. This one has some new games, it has some new features. A lot of the new games focus on things that the Switch 2 can do. Mouse mode on your Switch 2 controller, camera settings, Jamboree TV. I believe this also has something to do with the capture and your actual like group chat and things like that. It's got a lot of cool games. I don't feel the need to play those kind of games. You see people's faces while they are doing stuff, and that is interesting. There is one game where like you're trying to balance like Goombas on your head and stuff. They seem fun, and then I believe it might be wrong, but I believe Nintendo said it does have crossplay with Super Mario Kart Jamboree on the Switch 1. And it works the same thing as the Switch 1 version does when somebody does not have something. So if one person is using a Pro controller on the Switch 1, you will not get Joy-Con mini games. And I think that's the same thing here. So if one of the people on Switch 1 is playing the game with you, even though you're on Switch 2, if they don't have like a camera set up and they can't do that, you just won't have those available. So it'll be like they'll be turned off for that game mode until you're able to actually play with a group of people who have those. So that is something to think of. If you don't have Jamboree for the Switch 1, this is a great game to pick up. However, if you already have it for Switch 1, you can just buy the upgrade for $20 if that is something that interests you. But just keep in mind, even though you will be able to play with the people on Switch 1, you will most likely not have the content available for the Switch 2 exclusively, unless everybody is playing on the Switch 2. Alright, so Mario Kart Jamboree is that one. We have 2 more games to go by that I am going to do in this video. So we have No Sleep for Kaname Date. I don't know if that's how you say it. From AI, the Somnium Files IBA edition. Don't know anything about this game. It's a Switch 2 game. A lot of people are really excited for it. However, it is a game keycard, so keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to game keycards, a lot of people are very negative on game keycards. I have a couple of takes on it. So, for one, no, I don't like game keycards, and I won't buy game keycards in most cases. Now, I say in most cases, because there are cases where I will prefer a game keycard, and that is including something like WWE that has more storage than what a game key card can actually, or what a cartridge can hold, right? So if a game comes out and the storage capacity cannot be held on a cartridge, I will then prefer a game key card compared to a download copy. And that is because a game key card has a resale value. You can go sell it, you can get in-store credit, you can do anything you can with a physical game on the game key card. The negatives is a game key card is you put it in your Switch, and then it downloads the game. You still have to keep the card in your Switch to be able to actually play, because that card is like, yep, you own the game, and then it lets you play the game. If this sounds kind of familiar, it is basically everything every other console has already done, along with some stuff on Switch 1. Now, they put a name to it this time, Game Key Card, while in the Switch 1 games, like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, for example, it says download required. And that's because there is a cart, but it only has Tony Hawk 3 on it. And then the download required is for Tony Hawk 4. So basically, that is a key card that has one game on it, and it has the download, like the key to download Tony Hawk 4. Same thing with the Arkham games. The Arkham games are the same kind of setup. They have 1 or 2 games on the cart, and then they have a key that unlocks the other games in the eShop. And then when you try to go open the game, it checks to see you own it by checking that cartridge that is in the cartridge slot. And it'll say, oh, that key is redeemed. You're good. This is your game. And that is how that works. Now, I say that because every disc does that, almost. So PlayStation, Xbox, since like the PS4, 360, that kind of era has always had, like, their discs did not have the games on the disc. Because a disc can hold a lot less data on it. And even them being Blu-ray can hold a lot less data than what's on those games. So almost every time they're basically key cards. The discs are. And that's how it is. Now, the reason that it's so big on Nintendo doing game key cards is because Nintendo actually has more of a physical presence. We have games that came out in 2017 and the used price is still $56. Nintendo doesn't go down in price. Unless it's a extremely bad game, it usually does not go down in price. And this kind of makes that, I guess, a little bit more iffy on why would you buy something that's not on the cartridge? And the entire thing is the servers can go down. So yeah, so PlayStation servers can go down. and you can lose every PlayStation game you've ever bought on disc. Xbox servers can go down and you will lose every Xbox game you bought on disc. Now, it doesn't make the disc unplayable if it's already installed in your system, but especially with how storage is on consoles nowadays, you have like, what, maybe 10 or 15 games installed? If those systems go down, every game that's not installed will be basically unplayable. And every game that has an online requirement will be unplayable. With Nintendo, if you had the game cartridge, you could put the cartridge in and play it at any time. If it requires online only, like something like Splatoon, you won't be able to play it. However, if it was something like a game key card and has to connect to the servers, if those servers are gone, yeah, you're not going to be able to play that game. So those are kind of the issues in it. I don't prefer game key cards, but I will get them if the storage makes sense for it to have a game key card. And a lot of places, the reason that game key cards exist is mostly because of price. So a 64 gigabyte cartridge may cost the developers $65 or $15. So if they had a $40 game they wanted to release, that game would now be $55, $60 to actually sell to make the same profit. We see this with Switch 1 with Stardew Valley specifically. So Stardew Valley, it's a digital game. So you could buy it on eShop for $15, right? Amazing game, super fun indie game, but it's $15 basically everywhere you go. Now, there is a Switch 1 physical release of Stardew Valley, and that physical release has a cartridge. That physical release is $29.99. And the reason is because the game is $15, the cartridge is $15. So they want to make the same profit they can on their game. So what they do, well, they have to raise the price by $15 so they can actually make money. So it's a $30 physical release for a $15 digital game. So that is kind of the thing with that. So when you have a game that's like $30 and they don't want they want to make profit, then they're going to want to have no cartridge. And there's a double-edged sword there because yes, they can keep the price lower. However, what we've seen from the Switch 2 release so far with AAA titles, with the only titles selling right now are either first party or fully on-cart games like Cyberpunk 2077 that uses the full 64 gigabyte cartridge, but it was a $70 game and they are technically still losing money because it's a $70 game with a $30 DLC included and they paid the $15 for the full cartridge. So they're losing a lot of money there, but they're doing it in a way where they made a lot of money from sales. When you look at something like Street Fighter, they're like, oh, well, we didn't sell any copies. Well, we had a game key card. It's like, why? Like, because a game key card is $2. The cartridge, which they only have one size of 64 gigabytes, is $15. They wanted to sell their game. So if they want to sell their game for $15, and then they chose the $2 option, that's $2 cutting from their profits. If they want to sell their game for $50, but they bought the $15 cartridges, those $15 a game loses them $15 of profit per, game they sell. So what are the options? Well, then they can raise the price to $70, but they decided to keep the price lower, and that is what they did. And it looks like it kind of backfired. Now, this isn't a Nintendo issue, to be honest. This is, Nintendo probably looked at it and was like, okay, a game key card is $2, a 64 gigabyte cartridge is $15. We can offer say a 12 gigabyte cartridge, but because of the stuff that is inside of it, it's still probably going to be like $14 or $15. So they probably seen it like, well, there's no point offering different sizes if all the different sizes are exactly the same price. So you might as well just give the extra gigabyte storage, right? And that's probably how they looked at it. But they were like, oh, well, we still want to give people the option, so we'll do game key card. So that is probably how Nintendo looked at it. But Nintendo from the start has already said none of their first party games will ever be on a game key card. So they know that it's going to have a hit with the community before it even had a hit with the community. They announced that like the same time they announced game key cards. They said they weren't doing it. So they already had a good idea of how the community was going to be, which people should have known before. So when a developer looked at that, it's the developer's choice. They can set their profits lower and get a game key card or increase prices, or they can roll the dice. And a lot of these companies rolled the dice. And it looks like these rolling the dice actually backfired on them. Because while they could have had a really good Switch 2 launch, they decided to have a game key card. Now, some people say it is Nintendo's fault for putting Game Keycard on the case. And in my opinion, that is a stupid, idiotic take. That makes no sense for any consumer to ever have. It is just utterly moronic. Like, if you have that opinion, stop it. It's not good. You cannot argue that the issue is because Nintendo was forthright and upcoming and transparent to the consumers. You can't say that is the issue that we should fight. No. In absolutely no way should a consumer ever fight Nintendo, specifically for being transparent with the consumers. Yeah, discs don't say key disc on them or whatever, but that's because they want your sale. They don't care. Nintendo is like, hey, this is a game key card. We're being transparent. This is going to be a download. If servers go down, you're going to lose this. Nintendo is being forthright and honest. And we cannot fault them for that. When they put Game Keycard on the case, the only issue that I have is it makes the case look stupid. But they do it on purpose so you can see it. I will never have an issue with Nintendo putting on their cases that a download is required, the code in box, a Game Keycard, or online is required. I will never fault Nintendo for putting that. It is amazing that Nintendo is putting that on their boxes and is being transparent to all of the consumers. Alright, that is just how it is. If you don't have that take, your take's stupid and it's just wrong. There is no subjective or objective. It's just, if you think Nintendo being pro-consumer is a bad thing, you're just wrong. Point. So, the last game we are going to talk about is going to be Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley, and Skytree Village. This looks like it is a double pack, and it is $39.99, and it will be released July 31st, 2025. I don't know if that's the actual date or if that's a placeholder date, but it is released. A lot of people love the Harvest Moon games. However, I don't know if this is older Harvest Moon or if it's newer Harvest Moon, because a lot of the people hate some of the newer Harvest Moon stuff. I think it's the Harvest Moon ones. I'm not sure. It's one of those things where it's like, one of the farm simulators used to be amazing and then got bad. So I'm not sure if this is that or if it's not. So that is that for people who enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button down below. I will see you all next time. And don't forget to game like a god. Peace.